Now we can get into the teachings of the Tree of Life, the Essene Tree of Life, which has 7 branches above and 7 roots below. The teaching in the Holy Megillah about the Tree of Life is that the 7 branches meet with the 7 roots in the trunk of the tree, which is within you, from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. And it tells us which placement on the body that each of these energy channels exist. And it tells us which roots and which branches meet to form each one of these energy channels. And so you're looking at 6 branches and 6 roots. Where are the 7th? The 7th branch is obviously Aleph, but why are there 2? These are colored white because they meet to form the crown chakra of Tav. This is the center branch that connects to Godhead in Hashem Yahweh, and this is the center root that connects below your feet in Mother Earth. Now the Mother Earth is made of land and water. Okay, so what we have here is Shin and Mem, which is the fire and the water. Now fire does not happen on the water. When we see Mem representing the ocean of the Mother Earth, we can understand that the fire happens only on the land on Mother Earth. So Shin in this case represents the land. So Shin and Mem together in this case represent our Mother Earth, the mother planet, that all of the other 6 roots are interconnected with. These 6 roots represent the forces of nature. And these 7 branches, as the scripture says, are the spiritual representation of each of these forces of nature. And as the teaching goes, that one of these ethereal branches meets with one of these tangible roots in the trunk of the tree, which is represented by the 7 doubles. And the 7 doubles are 2 sounds that represent a hard and a soft sound that represent the dense reality and the ethereal reality. Therefore, the 7 roots below meet in the trunk of the tree where the dense form of each letter is. And the ethereal branches meet in the trunk of the tree to form the ethereal soft form of each letter in the tree. Do you see what I'm saying? The branches meet with the roots in the trunk of the tree, and where they meet is the hard and the soft sound. Bet, vet, gimel, gimel, dalet, dalet, kaf, chaf, pe, fe, resh, resh, tav, tav. Okay, for example, Hashem Yahweh meets in the trunk of the tree at Thav, where it forms the crown chakra. The Mother Earth meets in that same point through Tav. Okay, Tav represents the hard sound that connects to the Mother Earth. Thav represents the soft sound that connects to Hashem Yahweh. And so on and so forth, all the way down through all the other Sephirot, the chakras, the energy channels. Now, you can see here, this looks exactly like what we already determined before. We have the Hebrew family tree, which correlates exactly with the connections of the Tree of Life. And these are the connections that form the hard sound and the soft sound of the double letters. And you simply look at the color to see what letter matches with which other letter to form which double letter. The roots below form the hard sound, the branches above form the soft sound. And each of these letters are in order as they appear in the alphabet. They've not been taken out of order. That's just simply how they appear. They appear in the order of the chakra system. So when we look for the first energy channel, this letter is Bet. Bet means house. You can see the foundation of the house and the roof above. And this is formed by the root of sun and the branch of power. Now, what better letter to represent the sun than Leo, which is ruled by the sun and is a fire sign? Leo, the fire sign, connects with Aries, the ram. A ram represents power because a ram rams its head against the head of another ram. And power is the spiritual representation of the fire of the sun. And you can see they are connected by that same genealogical line. They're both fire signs, and that forms in the first energy channel represented by Bet, which means house. Now the house is the storehouse of the spiritual power of the sun that is within you. And the sun rises up the spine, illuminating all of these energy channels in its path of illumination until it gets to the crown. And that is the process of the Kundalini stored in the base of your spine, which is your tailbone, at the end of your nervous system connected to your brain, that rises up the spine, illuminating each energy channel with spiritual power. That is the symbolism of this formation. Okay, the next letter, Gimel. This is the second energy channel located at the genitalia. It is formed by soil and eternal life. Gimel means camel. Why would the camel be represented as the letter for the genitalia? The camel is known for its perseverance in being able to endure the hot desert and walk long distances for long periods of time. It is through the genitals that eternal spirits incarnate through the genitalia when the father and the mother meet in their coitus. And that is the way that each species and each family lineage perseveres like a camel. If the father and the mother do not mate, then the bloodline of the father and the bloodline of the mother do not persevere. Now, soil is the fertility of the reproductive organs of the human body. The fertility of the soil is represented by the genitals, and without that sexual union, eternal spirits cannot incarnate into the fertile womb of the mother to be birthed into this world. Now, Chet is a mutable sign, He is a cardinal sign, but they both share that they are both earth signs, and this is the sign of the Virgin. The sign of the Virgin, which is an earth sign, represents soil for the second energy channel at your genitals. Do you see the connection between those? And we know that He, which is also an earth sign, looks very similar to Het. Therefore, they are connected on the Tree of Life to form the second energy channel. The third energy channel is located in your abdomen. This letter is Dalet and it means door. You can see it looks like a door. If this was the doorway and this is the open door, if you're looking at an architectural drawing, and then you walk through the door up into the upper levels. Now, Bet and Gimel, they're actually on the same level. Bet should be over here because it represents the base of your spine, which is behind the genitals, which are on the front. You can see Gimel has this bottom base level and this part that rises over the top, which is a smaller version of Bet, which has this base level and this part rising over the top, signifying the roof. Bet and Gimel look exactly the same, except Gimel is smaller, and they actually go on the same level. You have your butt and your genitals, Bet being the butt in the back, the tailbone of your spine, and genitals in the front. They're on the same level. Then when that energy, the spiritual power of the sun, passes from the base into the higher energy channels, it passes through this door at Dalet. And Dalet looks like the first rib and the lower back with this open space in the tummy. This is your abdomen. This energy channel is located on your abdomen. And it is formed by the root of joy and the branch of peace. Now, these two letters, Yod and Samech, which represent the water bearer and the scales, they are both air signs. Now, Ayin is also an air sign, and in this case, Ayin represents the root force of air. We'll get into how Ayin is connected later. In the third energy channel that is formed by peace and joy, this is where when you connect the 7 energy channels to the endocrine system, when we look at Dalet, which is connected to the adrenal glands in your abdomen, this is where you experience the fight or flight. Now, when you're in a state of joy and peace, you override that fight or flight response that activates the adrenal glands, and you can respond with better decision making because you're not being over flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone that is related to the adrenal response. So when you cultivate peace and joy in your life, that can be applied to your life, and you are less stressed out, you have less fear, you have less survival struggle type of energy in your life. All right, now why does Samech and Yod represent joy and peace. The Hebrew word for joy is simcha. Samek is directly connected to that word for joy, simcha. They share the same root. And Yod is we already know it is connected visually. When Tzadi mates with Samek, they give birth to Yod, and Yod is a smaller version of Samek, representing that this is the ethereal form of peace that connects in Dalet, the softer sound, and Samek is the harder sound of Dalet. So this is the ethereal and this is the dense, and they are both air signs. And if you paid attention to my last video, it would be very hard to miss that Samek, which is the sign of the scales in the zodiac, represents a yin-yang. So this is the balance of the feminine side, which represented by this curved portion of Samek, and the masculine, which is represented by this sharp, straight side in Samek. So this is a yin-yang. And if you look at Yod, Yod is also a yin-yang. So you have the form that comes around the top and then the opposite form that comes around the bottom. And that is shown in the imagery of Yod. It's a miniature yin-yang, whereas Samek is a large, more obvious yin-yang. And they're both air signs. And the yin-yang is formed by the primal element of air represented by Aleph. When the whirlwind of air spins the masculine fire and the feminine water, represented by this column of air spinning in the whirlwind of the tornado, it forms a yin-yang. So this element of air forms the yin-yang. These are air signs, and it includes Ayin, which is also two that come from one. Remember, this is the twins, two identical twins that come from one, and Ayin means eyes. You have the two identical eyes that connect to the optical nerve in the pineal gland, like identical twins that come from one egg. Just like a yin-yang is two that are spinning around each other as one. Just as the Holy Trinity is the masculine and feminine that are centered in their oneness in the I Am consciousness that originated them both, representing the air that spins them around each other in the great spiral dance of sexuality. So can you see how the element of air is represented in the zodiac in the form of Yod, Samek, and Ayin, which all represent two in oneness that are spinning around each other as the element of air spins the masculine fire and the feminine water. Okay, now the yin-yang, representing balance, represents peace and harmony and joy between opposites. Okay? How much deeper do you think this needs to get before the proof just solidifies and it's no longer deniable? I think at this point, if you would deny that Yod, Samek, and Ayin are connected to the yin-yang of Aleph that motivates and animates Shin and Mem to form a yin-yang, which is the peace and harmony of the masculine and feminine that represents peace and joy of the branch and root of the tree of life. I don't know what else to say if you're still in denial about that. Now, we move next to Kaf, which is Kaf Chaf, the hard and the soft. The hard connects to Tzadi, the soft connects to Nun. Kaf means palm of the hand. Think of stretching your arms out like our Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach, with his arms outstretched, his palms facing, shown outwards. The palms of the hands representing love in the heart. This energy channel is formed by water. The heart pumps the water, which is your blood. And guess what? These two are water signs, and they're connected genealogically. And guess what? Tzadi is a water creature, and Nun is a water creature. Nun means fish. This letter means fish, and it looks like a fish. Not only does the pictographic form look like a fish, but this letter Nun means fish. So if you go look at Qabalah and go look up what Nun represents in the Sefer Yetzirah for a sign of the zodiac, and see if the definition of Nun, which looks like a fish, actually correlates with what the Qabalah says about it. I don't think so. And the fish, which is another water creature connected as a water element, represents love. The heart is where you feel love. So love and water form this fourth energy channel in the heart, because your heart pumps the blood and your heart feels the love. Okay, do you see the connection? See, what we just went through each of the 4 elements of the astrological qualities. We had sun representing fire signs. We had soil representing earth signs. We had air. These 2 are air signs. And then we had water. These 2 are water signs. There are only 4 elements, and those 4 elements were taken up in these first 4 energy channels. And guess what? Those formations are cardinal signs. The pattern that shows up is that these ones that connect on their elemental qualities, they are all cardinal signs that connect on similar elemental qualities. Do you see that? See how all the cardinal signs, this cardinal sign matches with its elemental quality in this water sign. This cardinal sign matches with its elemental quality as an air sign. This cardinal sign matches with its elemental quality as an earth sign. And this cardinal sign matches with its elemental quality as a fire sign. Okay, that takes up all of the elemental qualities where the similarity of branch and root is made between the connection of the similarity between elemental qualities. The next that are left over are these 2 on the sides, and their shared commonality in the astrological qualities is not that they're elementally shared. They're not shared on an elemental level as the other ones were. They're shared in that these 2 are mutable signs and these 2 are fixed signs, but they are different elements. Tet is a water sign, Lamed is an earth sign, Zayin is a fire sign, and Ayin is an air sign. Okay, now Tet is the only land creature that is a water sign. Okay, you see the crab represented by the lobster. Zati looks like a lobster. Lobsters have 2 claws, a body, a tail, and 8 legs. And guess what? So did scorpions. Scorpions have 2 claws, a tail, a body with 8 legs, except that lobsters live in the water and scorpions live on the land. See the similarity between these 2? Just like we saw a similarity between Ayin and Samek, and that these are 2 that come from one, and these are 2 that are spinning around in their oneness, overseen by this smaller version of the one and this smaller version of the other. So we can see tons of patterns that start to arise that prove this configuration to be correct. And so now when we go to Pe, which means mouth, and the pictographic form of Pe, it looks like a bottom lip and an upper lip with a tongue sticking out. And this letter means mouth. So pictographically, it looks like a mouth, and the name of this letter means mouth. And this is at the throat chakra, the energy channel of communication, of self-expression. And it is connected by the branch of holy work, represented by the bull. Lamed means oxgoad, which is the shepherd's staff that directs the ox to do the work. Okay, and it looks like the hind leg of a bull, the big strong leg of the bull with the hoof on the ground and its tail that comes up. Or maybe this is the horn of the bull, the ox. Okay, your holy work is your self-expression in this incarnation. You incarnate onto the planet to perform a specific divine holy work, and that is your self-expression through your throat chakra in this world. Your career, that's how you express yourself, your profession. And your holy work is only holy if it increases the life force of yourself and those around you, represented by Tet, the scorpion, that represents Chai, the life force energy. The word in Hebrew for life force energy is Chai. And when the Nasrian Essenes traveled around the world, when they went to China, they taught the Taoists about Chai, the life force energy, and that is represented in the word, the Chinese word for life force energy, which is Qi. And in Japanese, the word for life force energy is Ki. And that originates from Chai, which is the life force energy of the Hebrew language. Just as the traditional Jews that observe Torah, when they celebrate, they say Lachaim, which means to life. That's Chai, which is the Chi. Okay? Why would the scorpion represent Chai, the life force energy? Have you ever seen a scorpion mother? Scorpion, remember this is on the side of the mother. The scorpion mother carries all her little babies on her back. The word Tet means basket. And this mother scorpion carries all the little babies on her back and protects them with her sharp claws and her big scary tail, her stinger. And she covers them and protects them like the little babies that are on her back are in a little basket. And the mother that carries all the babies in her basket, she is a life giver. She gives life. And the angelic being that oversees the root force of the tree of life for life force energy is Qabalah. And Qabalah is the ascended being who was Eve in the Garden of Eden. Eve's name was Chava, and Chava means life giver. She ascended to become Qabalah. She is the life giver of Elohim, the first woman to be awakened on earth from dormancy in the first heaven when all life was planted on this planet by angelic beings who live in the sun and came from other realms in our galaxy. Bringing the seeds of life to this planet in the Garden of Eden where all beings awakened. Eve was the first woman to be awakened when she was planted here on this earth as Chava, the life giver. And so Tet, the scorpion, represents life, and Lamed, the bull, represents holy work. And you want your holy work to increase the life force of those around you. If your work, your career, your profession decreases life force, it is not holy work, and you're not engaged in righteous activity. That is unrighteous activity, and you will deplete the energy that enlivens this energy channel, and you will not be able to get past this point. You will not get to the 6th energy channel. You will not enliven the 7th energy channel. If you cannot get past this point, it gets blocked here. So you have to have a holy work that increases the life force of others. Now the 6th energy channel, represented by Resh. Resh means head, and this energy channel is located on your forehead, and it looks like an eyebrow. So pictographically, as well as the definition of this letter, it means head, or more specifically, the forehead, the eyebrow, right between your eyebrows, the third eye. And what forms this energy channel? It is the root of air and the branch of wisdom. Wisdom occurs in the mind. When you take a deep inhalation, you would think the air would be represented in the chest by the lungs, but when you actually inhale really deeply, do it right now. The diaphragm pushes all of that air up, and the pressure built up by all the air in your lungs actually pushes pressure up into your brain. So when you take a deep inhalation, really deep, and you hold it, it creates pressure in your lungs that pushes blood up into your brain to oxygenate the brain, which enables deeper insight. So you do breathing practices to enhance this energy channel in the forehead. And guess what? Ayin is an air sign, and Ayin means eyes. So you have the letter that means head. It looks like an eyebrow. It's located at the forehead, which is the third eye, and you have this letter Ayin, which means eyes, and is an air sign, and is connected to Zayin, the archer. And what does the archer need in order to shoot arrows? The archer needs eyesight. The archer needs to see very clearly in order to shoot arrows. And the fire of the eyes, represented by this fire sign, this letter Zayin means weapon. It looks like an arrow, and it represents the archer, and it's a fire sign representing the fire of the eyes. When the archer can see clearly, that represents wisdom, clear vision, wisdom. Okay, so can you see how Zayin, the archer, is related to Ayin, the eyes, that form the root and the branch that creates Resh and Resh, the hard and the soft sound represented by the double letter Resh in the 6th position. Tav looks like Resh. Resh means head. Tav is on top of the head. And except Tav has this swirly foot thing that we see in Aleph. There are no other letters that have the swirly little foot. It looks kind of like a foot that swirls, that comes from Aleph. Aleph and Tav, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. The first letter of the alphabet, the last letter of the alphabet. The crown of the I Am that created all beings in the beginning of the universe, and the crown of the I Am of each individual soul that was created in the image and likeness of the original I Am, that returns to the I Am when it climbs to the highest heaven in our universe to pierce through the veil of the universe to live in heaven most high. The beginning and the end, the first and the last, the crown, which connects to Hashem Yahweh through the center branch of the golden ladder and connects to Mother Earth, the center root of the golden ladder.